Okay, mate, I'm pleased to say that our new parts have come through without any.
It's the start of the last race weekend of the year. It's time for practice here in Abu Dhabi.
Okay, we need a few solid laps here to help us calculate a good race strategy. Programme complete and a job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can take you through the numbers. Okay, we can take you this lap. Mind that front wing, it's going to need replacing if it takes too much damage. Okay, you've got front wing damage. This will have a major impact on performance unless you box for a new one. Car repair set us back.
What an incredible practice!
Okay, this is a quali sim. We've estimated the times our closest rivals will be doing, so that's what we need to beat. Okay, test complete, and that was a really good job indeed. We got a lot of valuable information out of that. Well done.
And if today's practice...
We need to be sure we can manage the tyres through a lap, so try to keep the wear down through each corner. Be especially careful accelerating on corner exit. Temperature's so important for your tyres, cool down laps are now vital after a push lap so that we don't light up the rubber too much, not to mention recharging the battery. Programme complete, programme complete. These results will do, although you could definitely do better. Consider giving it another shot.
And that's it. Practice. Welcome along, everybody. It's the fastest day of the week, qualifying Saturday, and we're here in Abu Dhabi. With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. So here we are, ready to go racing for one final time this year. Another season of victories, controversies and rivalries lies in our wake. And just one challenge remains, here in the United Arab Emirates, on a circuit that made its spectacular debut back in 2009. Welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We have 16 corners here at Yas Marina Circuit, 7 to the right and 9 to the left. It's a total lap distance of 3.28 miles, 2 long straights and overtaking opportunities throughout the lap. And we expect average speeds of around 123 miles per hour. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Ace lines up on pole position. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Norris, Leclerc, Perez, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Sainz, Gasly, Stroll, Tsunoda, Ocon, Albon, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Bottas, Hülkenberg, and Logan Sargent. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me today, a man who I'm always pleased to see join me in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson.
I don't know about you, Ant, but it seems like only a couple of weeks ago we were talking ahead of the first race. Here we are, ahead of the last race. This year has just flown by.
Yeah, a lot of races to cover these days in Formula One, Crofty, as you well know, doing them all yourself. But it's the same for the drivers. It comes at you thick and fast, and you've got to pace yourself as well to get to this point in the season. If it has gone your way, it's a great time to just enjoy it. There's nothing that can change in the championship pecking order, of course. If you've won the championship already, go out and enjoy this race and send yourself off through the winter break. If it's been a bit of a year to forget, you can try and take a bit of solace in this Grand Prix, end on a high and carry that energy into next season.
Okay, so I know we've already won the championship, and it's amazing, but it's not time to switch off yet. We can relax in this race, but I want you to enjoy it. I also want a strong result. Okay, DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Good job, that was the fastest lap of the race so far. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 9.6 seconds. Green flag. We're approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time. Okay, mate, tyres are running very hot, very hot. Please keep those tyre temps under control if you can. In this lap, push now. watch out for understeer in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as quickly as you can. Push, push. Okay, pit in this lap and remember the speed limit. We'll be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach. Okay, be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor damage. You only have to stop once now, one stop left. Okay, forget the targets for now, we've got to focus on the pit stop. Right, let's go, come on. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. Valtteri is in for his stop. Car ahead of you's just fitted the hard tyres. Car ahead now on the hard compound. Okay, mate, right, that front wing damage is going to hurt us. We've really got to look after it now. Let's put everything into protecting that front wing, please. Brilliant, nice move, keep going. slow down before hitting the corners. We don't want to get a penalty. Okay, gap to the car in front, 2.8 seconds. That's 8th place, you're in 8th place. Stroll is ahead of you. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Piastri's behind you now. Less than a second separates you. Okay, they're on fresh hards. The distance to the leader, 6.4 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. All right, 6 laps to go now. Yeah, really good job on hitting that target, mate. Nice work. Still a long way to go, though. Gap to your teammate behind, 9.0 seconds. Okay, we've been given a time penalty. It will go against our finishing time at the end of the race. Get your head down and let's get it done. Okay, take it easy on the car. We can't sustain this level of damage. Okay, gap ahead, 3.0 seconds. Okay, this is Mark. I need you to stop cutting the corners. If you keep it up, the stewards are going to give you a penalty. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. And gap to the car in front, 2.9 seconds. And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Sergio Perez has absolutely smashed the opposition. It's victory for Perez.
Well, a great victory today for the final race of the season, and you take that energy with you through the end of the year, through the winter break, and it's important because your team lives off of that. You want them to deliver you the best possible car for the start of next season's campaign.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team.
So let's celebrate the end of the season, but I know a lot of you will be very sad out there thinking, what are you going to do without...